The conquest of Gaul. Caesar's victory in Gaul, the first of his celebrated 4 triumphs, really made his name. One soldier recalls his time in Caesar's legions. I was a legionary when Caesar came to take command in Gaul. None of us knew much about him then, though one man had fought under Caesar in Spain and said that he was a good general. When he arrived in Gaul, Caesar told us how proud he was to be commanding us. Then the training started. Caesar demanded perfection in all types of drill, from throwing the spear, the pilum, and using the sword, the gladius, to camp building and formation marching. Of course, this was hard work, but we admired him for being so careful about training. After all, it was for our benefit. Our first chance to put our training into practice was when those wild barbarians, the Helvetii, invaded from the mountains. Caesar led us forward at once. Unlike some generals who skulk at the back of a fight, Caesar drew his sword and led us into battle himself. At last we had a man to follow, not an officer to obey. For 2 years we patrolled the country and fought the Gauls. Caesar never seemed lost. He always knew where the enemy was and how to defeat him. And during the 9 years that he governed Gaul, Caesar always made sure we had plenty of food to eat and we got our pay on time. From Gaul we made 2 raids on Britain in 55 and 54 BC. Although we almost lost the entire fleet in a gale first time round, we defeated the natives and got plenty of booty. After that we had an easy time in Gaul for a while. Then in 52 BC a young chieftain, Vercingetorix, persuaded the various different Gaelic tribes to join forces under him, and all hell was let loose. They attacked us as we marched along a valley on our way back to base in the Mediterranean. About 50,000 of us were strung out in a long column when we heard a great shout from the hill on our left. We looked around to see hundreds of horsemen pouring over the crest of the hill. Dressed in long flowing capes of bright colours and checked trousers, the Gauls looked truly ferocious. They came galloping down towards us, waving their swords and screaming war cries. Our centurion ordered us to left turn and close shields. As we did so, the Gauls smashed into the men guarding our baggage weapons like a thunderbolt. Using their spears and long swords, the Gauls killed many men and made off with several wagons. Our solid line of shields and short spears held the Gauls at bay until our own cavalry came and drove them away. We buried the dead and started after the attackers. We followed their trail to the large hill fort of Alesia. Unlike other hill forts that we had attacked, this one had a strong wall and impressive towers. At once, Caesar ordered us to dig trenches and build walls right around Alesia. Caesar planned to starve the Gauls of fresh supplies and force Vercingetorix into surrendering. We worked for days and even doubled our efforts when Caesar learned from his spies that the Gauls were raising a fresh army. Then early one morning we got the order to arm ourselves for battle. We were drawn up facing to the west. About noon a huge army of Gauls came into sight. There were thousands of them. They filled the entire valley, 3 miles wide from hilltop to hilltop, with their brightly coloured clothes and flashing armour. Their cavalry advanced and were thrown back. Then the Gauls rushed at us, screaming and yelling as their arrows and sling stones rained down upon us. We threw our spears and they drew our swords. We met the Gauls with a mighty clash and everyone was shouting at once. The Gauls were tough fighters and their long swords were vicious weapons, but they had no training for close fighting. We jabbed at them with our short swords and protected each other with our line of shields. The Gauls fought independently and got the worst of it. It was a hard battle that lasted for several hours. As dusk fell, the Gauls fled to a nearby hill. After several attempts to break through our lines, the Gaelic army pulled back, and Vercingetorix was forced to surrender Alesia. It was a great victory for us and for Caesar. The capture of Alesia ensured Caesar's reputation as a great general, and made him a Roman hero. With the conquest of Gaul, his power in Rome increased, and Gaul itself changed dramatically and forever by Alesia. Instead of being a collection of small warring kingdoms, Gaul became unified under Roman control and enjoyed the benefits of Mediterranean civilization. I came back to Gaul when I retired from the army just after the celebrations in Rome for Caesar's 4 triumphs. Oh yes, I enjoyed my time in the legions, but farming is about as much as excitement as I want now.